An object is a self-contained piece of code that has its own set of properties, methods, and events. The .NET framework that C# uses is actually a library of objects. Just about everything in C# is an object. Controls, variables, and even pages are all objects. In this lesson, you'll learn about the object and var variable types. To begin, open the My Project sample file from your Sample Files folder. And open the code behind file of calculator.aspx if it isn't open already. You've used the double variable type for your calculations on this page, which is the correct approach. But since a double variable is an object, you can also use the object variable type. An object variable can store any type of data. You typically use them when you need to store data but do not know its type in advance. Change the first line of code in the button calculate click event handler from double first number to object first number. You'll notice that the line that performs the calculation is now indicating an error using a red underline. This is because the math.max method expects numeric arguments and doesn't know what to do with an object variable. You can still make this code work by casting the object variable to the double variable type for the purposes of the calculation. Change double result equals math.max first number second number to double result equals math.max begin brackets double end brackets first number second number. The error disappears. You could also have solved this problem by converting the value of the object variable into a double using the convert.toDouble method. Also note that you can use the getType method of an object variable to return its true type. Because an object variable doesn't have a fixed type, it's capable of storing any type of data. Add a new line after the object first number line and type first number equals datetime.now. This code changes the value of the first number variable to today's date. You can now see why C# needs to be explicitly told the type of data that is stored in an object variable. It could literally be anything. Obviously, trying to convert a datetime variable into a double will cause an exception if you try to run this code. So remove the line that you just added. Next, you're going to use the var variable type. Just like the object variable type, the var variable type can be used to store data of any type. But there's an important twist. The var variable type assumes its type when it is created. From that point forward, the type cannot be changed, and the variable can be used in exactly the same way as the type that it has assumed. Change the first line of code in the button calculate click event handler from object first number to var first number. Now remove the cast from the double result line. Now view the page in your browser and test the form. The calculation works without any problems. Even without casting the var into a double, C# knows that the first number variable is a double. This is simply because you put a double value into the var variable when you created it, causing it to assume the double variable type. Close your web browser now. It's important to avoid using object and var variables unless you have a very good reason. It would be quite possible to replace every variable in an application with var or object variables. This would be very poor programming practice for several reasons. Firstly, object variables are inefficient because they have to be constantly converted to different types in order to use them. This results in code that runs slower. Secondly, code containing object and var variables is harder to understand. And thirdly, code containing object and var variables is more prone to runtime errors, as fewer errors can be trapped by the compiler. Although the calculation will still work perfectly using object and var variables, it is best to use exactly the types you need whenever possible. Change the first line from var back to double. Now close Visual Studio, saving your changes if prompted. And you've now completed Lesson 5.13. Use object and var variables.